In August of 1998, our next guest had grand plans of quitting her job as a lawyer and hitting the road in her red convertible, but instead she ended up in the hospital diagnosed with one of the most lethal of brain tumors and given only 1 year to live. But 17 years later, Lisa Reisman not only survives, she thrives. In her book, 5 months, 10 years, and 2 hours, she talks all about her approach to living each day to the fullest. Lisa, welcome here to CT Style.
It's a pleasure to be here.
And you're a New Haven County resident. You're from the area.
I am. I'm from Branford.
Yeah, so Branford representing right here on
Yes,
CT Style.
yes.
So let's go back in time a little bit and talk about that day in 1998 when you were diagnosed.
Right. Well, what happened was I took a nap on Saturday. I had been a New York attorney. I decided it wasn't for me. I gave notice. I had 1 week left of work. On the Saturday before my final week of work, I went on a 5-mile run, and then I took a nap. I was spent, I was tired, I was exhausted, and I got up 46 hours later in a hospital room with my family surrounding me and a doctor telling me that I had a brain tumor.
Oh my gosh. And of course, it sounds like your family was very supportive for you, but what was going through your mind at that point? It's got to be life-changing.
Well, yes, in a way, but I was in a sort of haze because I had suffered a massive seizure. So when I first heard that I had a brain tumor, I was more concentrated on the doctor telling me and how slowly he was talking, and it was annoying me. So then when it finally registered, it felt like a punch in the gut. And then when he told me that I needed to have surgery, I just said, let's just get it out, because in my fragile state of mind, it seemed the most logical thing to do.
So the great part about your story is that they gave you 1 year to live.
That's right.
And it's 17 years later. What have you done to prolong your life? It's a pretty amazing story.
Well, initially, one of the things I did was I did not learn my prognosis, because I heard the disease that I was diagnosed with was called glioblastoma multiforme. If you say that aloud, it just doesn't sound good. And then I looked at the faces of my sister and my brother-in-law, and they looked shocked. So I just thought, okay, it's not good, but what good will it do to know that how much time I had to live? It was, in fact, 1 year. So what I was doing was, if I heard, okay, it was August 1998, so then I would think, okay, August 1999, what can I do in these 365 days? By not learning until about 5 years afterwards, I freed myself up. I didn't have this limitation of thinking how many days I had to concentrate on other things.
So what advice do you have for people, whether they're facing a traumatic time in their life or just to live life to the fullest? What advice do you have from them, from your experience?
Well, I don't know that my way will work for everyone. I think one other piece of advice I would have for people would be to not identify yourself, to not define yourself as a cancer patient, even when you're in treatments, to try to live your life as if you're well, as if you're someone who's well to the extent that's possible, and think of yourself as someone who happens to be getting treatments for cancer and doing everything they can to get well.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much again for joining us. Again, the name of the book is 5 months, 10 years, and 2 hours. You can check it out on Amazon.com or your local bookstore. Lisa, thank you again for sharing your very inspiring story.